and you're waiting for your coach to put you in. He finally puts you in, you go on defense. And you're waiting for the quarterback to say hike, and he finally says, "It's a hike!" He hands it off to the running back. And you see him hand it off to him, so you run towards him, the running back's running towards you, you go to make the tackle, and then you're knocked out. The last thing you remember is your coach coming up to you saying, "What's your name? Are you okay?" You have suffered from a severe concussion or a brain injury caused by a bump or blow to the head that causes the head and brain to move rapidly back and forth, as stated in the article Impact of Providing a Definition of Concussion by Robin C.A., published in 2014. Now, I played football for 3 years, and I have suffered a concussion, but I haven't been knocked out, but I've seen many of my friends get knocked out. And it's really scary to see your friend unconscious on the floor. Now, football is getting bigger and bigger every single year. And the amount of concussions that happen within the games is scary. Concussions are very dangerous, and we need to diminish the amount of concussions that football players are getting so they don't have those long-term effects or those short-term effects that are caused by concussions. Now, when you get a concussion, you can both suffer mentally and physically. In the article made by Schneider, entitled Individual Approach to Concussion Prevention, published in 2018, states that when you get a concussion, you can get a headache, dizziness, cognitive difficulties, blurred vision, and also the two long-term effects that are very serious are depression and a disease called CTE. Now, CTE is a disease that cannot be cured. It attacks the brain, and I'll go more into depth of that later on in the speech. Now, we have seen an increase of depression in former football players, as stated by John Hart in an article, Depressive Symptoms and Concussions in Aging Retired Football Players, published in 2013. And he states that football players who suffered from concussions in their young adulthoods had a more likelihood of being depressed than a normal person that has not played football and suffered as many concussions. He also stated that you can get a disease called CTE, and it attacks the brain, causing you to be more depressed, have major mood swings, and you're basically a person that you don't know. And you have suicidal thoughts, and a lot of the times, many football players have killed themselves because they cannot handle the amount of pain that they're going through mentally. Now, I know that these are scary symptoms, but what's even scarier is that people are still playing football today, and they don't really know about these symptoms of concussions. In high school, there are 1.2 million players playing high school football, and 43,000 to 67,000 people that are playing high school football suffer from concussions. And of the 1.2 million, 53% of them do not report that they have concussion, meaning that there's even more amount of high school players getting concussions, as stated in the article Biomedical Properties of Concussion in High School Football by Bergoglio in 2010. Now, this is scary because they're getting concussions and they don't know that they can have these long-term effects of CTE and depression. And we want to be able to make sure that we diminish those concussions in our youth because they can happen from Pee Wee football all the way to the NFL. Now, there's two ways that I want to approach this situation, this problem. One way is, first of all, teaching kids how to tackle properly. Now, in football, they kind of just throw you in. They kind of just throw you in there and say, okay, make the tackle. We're not going to teach you. But they're in an article published by Sports Illustrated in 2014, the Seattle Seahawks came up with a way to tackle properly and to diminish the amount of concussions that a person will get when tackling. It's called hawk tackling. It's basically how rugby players tackle. They lead with their shoulder and not your head. I had pictures of different ways, and even me performed the tackle, but it wasn't working. But Basically, if you do this method and we teach these kids how to tackle properly, you're easily going to diminish the amount of concussions in your high school career or professional or college career. Another way that we can solve this problem is to let the kids know it's okay to say that you have a concussion and you need to do it, or else you're going to get these long-term effects of this disease that's not able to be cured. Coaches, Sean Kerr stated in the article Examining Youth American Football Coaches in 2020, suggests that you need to go up to your players and say, are you okay? And you need to let them know that if you don't report this concussions or concussion that you get, then you're going to suffer severely. So you need to make sure that we inform these kids that they need to say that they have a concussion or not. Now, if we don't do anything, we're going to get a lot more football players playing football without knowing the precautions of concussions. And we're going to have more people in future generations getting more depressed and possibly even getting that awful disease called CTE, and more people killing themselves because of football concussions. Now, I know many of us don't have kids right now, or you probably played football, but when your kid says, I want to play football, make sure that, first of all, you need to make sure that they know how to tackle, and let the coaches know that you need to make this a priority for my child's safety. And second of all, to ensure that your kids know that you need to report that you have a concussion or not, because in the long run, it's not going to do you any good if you don't report it and you keep on getting the same concussion over and over again. By ensuring we do these two little simple steps, we're going to be able to diminish the amount of concussions that football players get and possibly save them from getting the disease CTE or depression later on in their lives. Thank you. You can come in. You can come in, Melvin. Yeah, Daniel.
I really like